The Polish-Swedish War was another war in the series of conflicts between the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and the Swedish Empire. It began with a Swedish invasion of Polish-Lithuanian fief of Livonia. Swedish forces succeeded in taking the city of Riga after a siege. The Commonwealth, occupied by a serious war with Ottoman Empire, was unable to send significant forces to stop Gustav Adolf, and was forced to sign a truce favourable to Sweden. The Commonwealth was forced to cede Livonia north of the Dvina River, and retained only a nominal control over Riga. A new truce in Mitau was signed and lasted from November 1622 to March 1625. Introduction. The Polish-Swedish War showed that the Swedish army, despite several reforms, was still unable to defeat the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, despite the fact that Poland, Lithuania at the time, was involved in other conflicts, and had sent inadequate forces to Livonia. Furthermore, King Gustav Adolf was still regarded in Europe as a usurper. To safeguard Swedish crown for himself, Gustav Adolf decided to force Sigmund III Waza to relinquish it. With help from Axel Oxenstierna, the Swedish king introduced a widespread program of military and social reforms, which resulted in creation of a highly trained army, based on native Swedish recruits. Gustav Adolf was well aware of the ongoing conflict between the Commonwealth and the Ottoman Empire, and decided to take advantage of it. First phase. While Polish-Lithuanian army concentrated in Podolia, in deep south of the enormous Commonwealth, on August 19, 1621, a Swedish army landed near Pärnu, carried by a fleet of 148 vessels. Gustav Adolf had 14,700 infantry, 3,150 cavalry and 375 cannons. Swedes immediately marched towards Riga, and besieged it on 29 August. The capital of Livonia was defended by a garrison of 300 soldiers, plus 3,700 armed residents. Lithuanian field hetman Krzysztof Radziwiłł had only 1,500 soldiers at his disposal, as most units were in Podolia and Red Ruthenia. Riga capitulated on September 25, after a month's siege and 3 assaults. On October 2, Swedes captured the fortress of Dunamunda. The invaders, marching through marshes and forests to avoid Lithuanian cavalry, entered the Duchy of Courland and Semigalia, capturing its capital, Mitau, without resistance. Swedes then tried to capture the fortress of Konieś, but failed to do so, after a skirmish with Lithuanian cavalry of Alexander Gosiewski. In early January 1622, the Swedes captured Valmiera, together with several smaller Livonian castles. Meanwhile, the forces under Hetman Radziwiłł grew to 3,000, which enabled the Lithuanians to seal several Swedish garrisons. On January 7, Radziwiłł recaptured Mitau, but for lack of artillery, he failed to seize its castle, whose garrison did not capitulate until July 6. A few weeks later, in late July 1622, main Swedish forces reached Mitau, and a prolonged battle ensued. Since the battle turned into a stalemate, on August 10, 1622, both sides signed a truce, which in 1623 was prolonged until March 1625. During the negotiations, envoys of Gustav Adolf suggested a Swedish-Lithuanian union. Truce. Swedish side insisted on a truce due to financial problems of the Swedish Empire, as the costs of the war were too high for Swedish treasury. Furthermore, in the autumn of 1621, Polish-Ottoman War ended, and the army of the Commonwealth was ready to march to Livonia. Truce, signed by the Lithuanians, enraged King Sigmund III Waza, who planned to transfer all forces northwards, hoping that with help of Spanish navy, he would be able to invade Sweden itself. Polish nobility and such leaders as Krzysztof Radziwiłł and Krzysztof Zaborowski disagreed with royal plans. It wanted the king to agree to Swedish conditions, and to relinquish Swedish throne in exchange a permanent peace treaty in Livonia. Radziwiłł emphasized the fact that after reforms, Swedish army was a tough nut to crack, and to defeat it, Poland-Lithuania also needed a major overhaul of its armed forces, especially infantry and artillery. The Commonwealth also needed a strong navy and specialized units of engineers, trained in erection of field fortifications. Regardless of the opinion of his generals, Zygmunt III ordered construction of a fleet, which, with help from the Spanish Empire, was to transport the invading army to Sweden. In 1623, Polish king met with the starosta of Puck, Jan Weger, telling him to build the fleet. This, however, was from the very beginning questioned by the powerful and semi-independent city of Gdansk, whose government, under Swedish pressure, opposed the very idea of a Commonwealth fleet, and did not allow it to be anchored in its port. Under the circumstances, Zygmunt III Waza decided to expand the port and shipyard of Puck. In 1624 to 1626, 7 medium-sized ships were built here, with tonnage ranging from 200 to 400 tons. The biggest ship of the new fleet was a galleon King David. Second phase. Before the end of the truce, Gustav Adolf initiated talks with Muscovy and the Ottoman Empire, hoping for a joint attack on Poland, Lithuania. Furthermore, he sent his envoys to Sikh, trying to incite the Zaporozhian Cossacks, who were Polish subjects, to attack Turkey and provoke another Polish-Ottoman war. On June 27, 1625, Gustav Adolf landed in Livonia with a 20,000-strong army. The main Swedish corps of almost 10,000 marched upwards the Daugava River, and besieged Konis, capturing it after 16 days. On August 27, Swedes captured Tartu, and soon afterwards, Mitau. In early September 1625, Swedish forces invaded the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, capturing Burzai on September 7. This success cut links between Polish-Lithuanian garrisons remaining in Livonia, and those stationed in Lithuania, as Sweden now controlled the line of the Daugava. Furthermore, on September 27, Sweden captured the fortress of Boskar. Swedish successes were possible also because of a bitter conflict between two powerful Lithuanian hetmans, Krzysztof Radziwiłł and Lou Sapieha. As a result, the armed forces of both leaders did not unite, and operated separately, which put the Commonwealth at a disadvantage. In October 1625, Radziwiłł retook several castles, while Sapieha fought off Swedish assault on Daugavpils. Radziwiłł then concentrated his forces in Courland, sending a few banners to harass Swedish units in Livonia. Meanwhile, Sapieha camped near Vale, which lies halfway between Boskar and Konis. Gustav Adolf was well aware of internal divisions among the Lithuanians, and decided to take advantage of it. On January 13, 1626, he concentrated his forces, and on the 17th of January 1626, the Battle of Walchów took place, in which for the first time, Swedish forces defeated the Commonwealth in the open battle. At the Battle of Niew on the 22nd of September, and the 29th of September, to the 1st of October, 1626, the Swedish forces stopped 3 attacks by the Hussars. Aftermath. After this failure, the Lithuanians limited their activities to attacks on Swedish patrols. Gustav Adolf, on the other hand, was content with performance of his army, and decided to transfer the war to Royal Prussia. During that period, the Battle of Dieshore, the Hussars were driven from the field by the Swedish cavalry. The Swedes were victorious again at Gorzna on the 4th of February, 1629. Additional reading. Mala Encyclopedia Wojskowa, 1967, Widenny I. Leszek Podhorodecki, Rapier I. Conches, Warsaw 1985, ISBN 83-05-11452-X. Leszek Podhorodecki, Wazoi W. Pols, Warsaw 1985, ISBN 83-205-3639-1. Parel Jaśnica, Rich Pospolita Obojga Narodowa, Strabny Week, Warsaw 1982, ISBN 83-06-01093-0.